John Cleese and his daughter Camilla are set to bring Basil Fawlty, the bad-tempered hotel manager of Fawlty Towers, back with a new show which will see the character in modern Britain. It is expected that Basil will no doubt struggle to adapt to the 20s. The last outing for Basil came in 1979 when the second series of the much-loved BBC sitcom aired, particularly as Cleese himself has become increasingly outspoken on modern habits, including his stance on so-called wokeism. The 83-year-old has in recent times become a vocal critic of so-called woke culture, which is defined as people who are alert to racial prejudice and discrimination. His belief in free speech has seen him gain a new wave of fans, as well as critics, and also saw him get his own TV show on GB News, with his series set to air in the coming months. And Cleese lashed out at people deliberately waiting for the thrill of being offended during an interview with Reason.com last month, slamming the wokes for stifling creativity and humor. He noted that comics, including himself, were now afraid to make some jokes, particularly on sensitive subjects. For Cleese, who was also part of the Monty Python comedy troupe, all that stuff immediately stops you being creative. Cleese continued, "The woke people, I think, missed something quite badly. The meaning of a word depends on its context. If I use sarcasm, then what I'm meaning is the opposite of the words I'm actually saying. If you don't get irony, then if you take it seriously, you completely misunderstand the intention of the writer or speaker." His frustration and concern at wokeism, which became a popularized concept within the past decade, sparking a debate regarding its positive and negative impacts, has often been outlined in more recent interviews. He addressed this worry during an interview with Fox News last year at Freedom Fest in Las Vegas, where he claimed that you can only create in an atmosphere of freedom, where you're not checking everything you say critically before you move on. This would ultimately lead to the death of creativity, he feared. More recently, Cleese and his daughter announced that they had set up a new narrative for Basil to be brought back to life. It was confirmed by Castle Rock Entertainment and will see Basil run a boutique hotel with his recently found daughter. The original incarnation of Basil is often hailed as the greatest sitcom of all time. As recently as 2019, Radio Times magazine announced its place as the best after interviewing industry experts and writers. Among those helping with the new series include actor Rob Reiner, director and producer Matthew George and Derek Rossi. George initially proposed the idea to Cleese, who said it was excellent and led to one of the best creative sessions I can remember. He continued, "By dessert we had an overall concept so good that, a few days later, it won the approval of Rob and Michelle Reiner. Camilla and I look forward enormously to expanding it into a series." George hailed his obsessions with Fawlty Towers, describing his meeting with Cleese and Camilla as among the great thrills of his life. He added, "I've watched the first 2 seasons so many times I have lost count. I dreamed of one day being involved in a continuation of the story. Now it's come true." The original run of Fawlty Towers caused a storm after the Germans episode that used offensive language, and Basil's fabled "Don't mention the war" in reference to Germany, was taken off the streaming platform UKTV. In a damning assessment of the streaming service's decision to temporarily remove it while an investigation was launched, Cleese wrote on Twitter in 2020, "I would have hoped that someone at the BBC would understand that there are 2 ways of making fun of human behaviour. One is to attack it directly. The other is to have someone who is patently a figure of fun speak up on behalf of that behavior. After investigating, UK TV, which also operates the TV channel Gold, said, "We already offer guidance to viewers across some of our classic comedy titles, but we recognize that more contextual information can be required on our archive comedy, so we will be adding extra guidance and warnings to the front of programs to highlight potentially offensive content and language. We will reinstate Fawlty Towers once that extra guidance has been added, which we expect will be in the coming days. We will continue to look at what content is on offer as we always have done.